Today, we're going to talk about an idea so powerful, it literally redrew the map of an entire continent. I mean, we're talking about nationalism and how it completely transformed Europe from this land of kings and empires into the world of nations we all recognize today. So how on earth did that happen?
Before there was an Italy, before Germany even existed as we know it, Europe was this massive patchwork quilt of sprawling empires and tiny kingdoms. They were ruled by monarchs who said their power came from God, not from the people. So, what changed? How did we get from their world to ours? Well, that's the big question we're tackling today.
And believe it or not, our story doesn't start on some bloody battlefield. It actually begins in the imagination of a French artist. His vision, his dream, it basically laid out a radical new future for all of Europe.
So let's start right at the beginning, back when nationalism wasn't about conflict, but was this hopeful kind of utopian vision of a world united in liberty and, well, brotherhood.
Check out this incredible image. It's a print from 1848 by an artist named Frederick Souriau, and it really captures the dream perfectly. I mean, look closely. You can see people from all over Europe and America marching in a long train, right past the Statue of Liberty. And on the ground, you see all the shattered crowns and symbols of the old kings. And up in the sky, you've got angels blessing this new world order. Each group in the line represents a different nation. You can tell by their flags and their clothes. This wasn't just a pretty picture. It was like a prophecy for a world organized by its people, not by dynasties.
What Souriau was dreaming of is what we now call the nation-state. And honestly, this is a revolutionary concept. It's not just about a piece of land with a ruler, it's about a people who feel like they belong together, who share a common identity, a history, a culture, and who believe they should be in charge of their own destiny.
Okay, so a dream is one thing, but to make it real, you need a spark. And in this story, that spark was one of the most famous events in all of history.
Yeah, I'm talking about the French Revolution of 1789. It just shows this shift perfectly. Power was taken from one person, the king, and handed over to millions, the French citizens. All of a sudden, people weren't just subjects anymore. They were citizens, les citoyens. The land wasn't the king's personal property. It was la patrie, the fatherland. This was really the first time nationalism jumped off the page and into the real world.
But this idea? Oh, it did not have an easy time spreading. The 19th century basically became a massive tug of war. You had Napoleon, who spread some revolutionary ideas like legal equality, but then he also went and made himself an emperor. And after he was defeated in 1815, all the old monarchies got together at the Congress of Vienna to try and stuff the genie of nationalism back in the bottle. But it was just too late. The idea was already out.
The Austrian Chancellor Metternich, the guy who actually hosted that Congress of Vienna, he said it best. He knew that the ideas coming out of France were totally infectious. He understood that once they started spreading, it would be almost impossible to stop them.
So who was spreading this infection? Well, people like this guy, Giuseppe Mazzini. He was an Italian revolutionary who truly believed that God intended for humanity to be organized into nations. He started secret societies like Young Italy to fight against the old monarchies and push for a single, unified, free Italy. He was one of the people who kept the flame of nationalism alive when things got tough.
But the romantic dream of revolutionaries like Mazzini, well, it just wasn't enough. The idea of the nation needed to get tougher, more pragmatic. It needed to be forged in steel.
1848. That was the big turning point. All across Europe, liberals and nationalists rose up. In a city called Frankfurt, they even created a parliament to write a constitution for a united Germany. They offered the crown to the Prussian king, but he turned them down. He didn't want a crown from the people. And just like that, the armies of the monarchs moved in and the whole liberal dream was crushed.
So after 1848, nationalism totally changes. The conservative monarchies, the ones who crushed the revolutions, they had a huge realization. If you can't beat the nationalists, join them. They figured out they could actually use national feeling to make their own state stronger and hold on to their own power. The dream of the people was about to become a tool of the state.
And with this new, tougher, state-driven nationalism, the map of Europe finally began to change for good.
Take Germany, for instance. The guy who finally united the country wasn't some liberal poet. No, it was Otto von Bismarck, the super conservative chief minister of Prussia. He famously said that the big questions of the day wouldn't be decided by speeches and votes, that was the mistake of 1848, but by iron and blood. And he meant it. He used the powerful Prussian army to unify Germany from the top down.
A really similar story played out over in Italy. It was a team effort, really. You had the soul, which was Mazzini's revolutionary ideas. You had the brain, the clever political maneuvering of Chief Minister Cavour. And you had the sword, the popular military hero Garibaldi. And together, they managed to forge a united Italy, putting a king, Victor Emmanuel II, on the throne in 1861.
So, new nations were born. Germany and Italy were on the map. It kind of sounds like a happy ending to the story, right? Well, not exactly. This powerful idea was about to take a really dark turn.
I mean, think about it. Once you've created a powerful, unified nation-state, what do you do with it? You start competing with all the other nation-states.
By the end of the 19th century, nationalism had gotten aggressive. It got mixed up with imperialism, this desire for overseas colonies and global power. The major European countries started competing for everything: trade, territory, military might. And the most dangerous flashpoint on the whole continent became the Balkans, a total powder keg of different ethnic groups all wanting their own nations, with the big empires constantly meddling.
This intense national rivalry, fueled by massive military buildups and imperial ambitions, created this tangled web of alliances and tensions that, in 1914, finally just exploded. The beautiful dream of fraternity that the artist Soryu painted turned into the absolute nightmare of the First World War.
And that really leaves us with a tough question, doesn't it? Nationalism, it gave us the modern world of independent countries, and it gave people this powerful sense of who they are. But it also led to some of the deadliest conflicts in human history. So as we look at the world today, it's worth asking, this idea built our world. But what is its price?